what's the motivation behind achieving a higher goal with your online presence?
Everyone's going, holy moly, I just never knew that about them.
How do you feel about taking action on something like that?
It's better off 80% out there than 100% not done.
For instance, if we were to completely stop doing content for you tomorrow, and you were to do it yourself, we were to remove ourselves from the equation, how would that affect your sale?
If you stop that online reputation, we would have to come up with an entirely new marketing strategy. It allows the customer to feel like they know the person before they come in. Because if you just walk up to someone and start selling to them, you're going to lose them straight away. That we want them to feel like that they have a knowledge of myself, they have a knowledge of what the shop looks like, a knowledge of the team.
So Graham, we've been planning to do this for a bit of a while now.
Yeah, just a little while. We've only put it off 45 times.
Yeah. One of the main things that I wanted to cover is when we came in first at Hip Pocket, it was around October last year, I believe.
Yeah, when we were pulling the place apart.
Yeah, that's right. When we were pulling the walls down and all that sort of thing. You already had a really, really good social media presence, and I asked you, why do we need to improve what you're doing already? What's the motivation behind achieving a higher goal with your online presence?
Well, two things. One, the two girls that were doing it, I needed them to have more free time. You know, that was taking them a substantial amount of time every day to create our socials. So I needed them working on the sales side and putting the orders in the system. But I also wanted to make sure what we were doing was current and being able to adapt with it. So I wanted to be working with someone who had their hand and finger on the pulse so that we could then go back and forth on creating a solution.
Definitely. And our deal has kind of evolved over time.
Yeah.
We came in through doing a bit of short form content, some YouTube stuff for you as well, to the point where we've increased your short form content volume, posting around 5 times a week on as many platforms as we can.
Yep.
And we're also started a podcast.
Yeah.
What was the idea behind starting a podcast?
I think it was you and I having half a random chat, to be honest. It was just creating a different type of media and bringing a different audience to our channel. You know, we have both seen with the results in it, it's creating an interest in not just sales for us, but it's creating an interest in showcasing that Toowoomba region business person or identity that people only know the glory sides of them. They don't know the actual ins and outs of them. And as we're seeing, you know, we're 10, 11 guests in and everyone's going, holy moly, I just never knew that about them. And it's creating a newfound respect for them too.
Yeah, definitely. I've noticed a lot of people who you could count as authorities in Toowoomba who...
Hi Taylor, walking past the camera.
It's all right, we'll leave that in.
We'll leave that, absolutely leave that in.
I've seen so many people in Toowoomba who you would count as authorities who have been looking towards your podcast and thinking, you know, I had that idea a couple of years ago but never started on it. How do you feel about taking action on something like that?
Well, as I've taught you, which is, you know, part of our relationship, it's the 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
It's better off 80% out there than 100% not done. So when we said we would do it, we just said, bugger it, we're going to do it. You look at preparing for our first episode, there was a lot of, we think this will work.
Yeah.
And to where we've evolved, you know, 3 months later, we're getting a very smooth, very polished thing that, you know, our first couple took us a couple of hours and lots of back and forth, whereas now, you know, 45 minutes really, and we're done.
Yeah, just like that,
Yeah.
definitely. If we were to move back to the sales side of the conversation, for what we're doing for you, the huge online reputation that you have at the moment, at which part of your sales would be responsible for that? For instance, if we were to completely stop doing content for you tomorrow and you were to do it yourself, we were to remove ourselves from the equation, how would that affect your sales?
Well, one, the load would have the social media content creation would have to go somewhere, which would probably be me, which would then take me away from probably some of that tier 1 conversation with people and doing the catch-ups and the coffees and building the relationships to create that bigger tier business. But it also would affect our retail because TikTok, we have such a following that so many people who are just coming in for shirts and boots and pants and things, they just know us through there, that if you stop that online reputation, we would have to come up with an entirely new marketing strategy.
Wow, okay. So have you seen an effect of new retail customers walking into the store and they already have this sort of connection with you, like they already know you, if you will?
Yeah, and especially because we use so many different team members, which is one of the things we've always worked with, pardon me, is that it allows the customer to feel like they know the person before they come in.
Yeah.
You know, it's been wonderful actually putting our team through that and making them feel part of the show.
Definitely. Wow. Putting them under the spotlight.
Yeah, but it also works for our team here too, because it makes them feel involved in the business and what we do, so they're helping grow it both ways.
Oh, that's vital,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's vital. I've been learning a lot about that, you know, sharing the numbers, having people involved, the amount of action that they take simply just through feeling like they're responsible for more things is huge.
Yep,
definitely.
Absolutely.
If we were to go back to the B2B side of things, you covered lead nurturing with your online reputation as well. Your LinkedIn, your TikTok, the huge viewership that you get and the many touch points that you have on people all across Toowoomba. Is that also responsible for nurturing B2B clients as well?
It is, because one of the hardest things to do in any sort of sales is to actually make a connection with someone. Because if you just walk up to someone and start selling to them, you're going to lose them straight away. Because as much as everyone talks about price, so much of it is just being comfortable with the person you're dealing with. And one of the reasons we do our media the way we do is that we want, when we have a reach out and we touch point with someone, that we want them to feel like that they have a knowledge of myself, they have a knowledge of what the shop looks like, a knowledge of the team. So when we say, we'll have a cup of coffee, they already know that we probably have the capability and capacity to do their work.
Yeah.
But then they want to get to know us to see whether we're their kind of people. It all rolls together to create a comfortable space to be able to talk to potential clients.
Yeah, okay, definitely. If you had to say to the audience listening right now, in comparison to other people that you've worked with in Toowoomba, why did you pick us?
One, you've learned not to be yes people. That's the big thing, is that if I have an idea you don't necessarily agree with it, you say so. You've actually brought stuff to the table that is relevant to, because as you know, social media changes on a monthly basis with the algorithms regardless of which channel it is and what we're doing. You're able to bring that to the table, you've got the data to support it, so you can pitch stuff to me to say, this is where we need to move next, this is how we need to change. And that's a great thing. You're not just getting paid, you're actually bringing solutions and answers to making sure we get our return on investment with you.
Definitely. So I remember when we first sat down, you said, Jack, in order for this relationship to work, I need you to give me a 3 times return on investment within the first 3 months.
Yep.
I think our deal was around $3,000 per month, a handful of YouTube videos, some short form. How did that turn out for you?
You pretty much hit the number. We were able to track it back to even just a couple of B2B clients that we picked up through LinkedIn, through some of the work we were doing, and we were able to hit those numbers. And, you know, I was pretty honest at the time that if it wasn't working, it was rubbish, that was the end of the show.
Yeah.
And look at us now, we're October, so that makes us, we're 7 months in, and you're still alive, and so am I, and it just continues to grow.
One of the things that I really pride ourselves on when it comes to Ripple is our flexibility. I've noticed so many other people, you know, they post a graphic here and there. When it comes to budget-friendly solutions, they can't really offer anything when it comes to short-form content, AI integration, and even, as you said, staying up to date with the latest trends and topics.
Yeah, but the other thing that you've evolved with it as well, you look at where we film now. So we film once a week for about 40 minutes. You're in and you're out. You get a week to 2 weeks worth of content in that short period. You don't interrupt multiple team members. We've worked out what we're going to do. We're in and we're out and we're done. Yeah. And if it turns out that we're busy, you can pivot and go, okay, Graham, here's a microphone on you. We're just going to go, bup, 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 and you're in and out of the way. It's very unintrusive. You're not just asking me to film stuff and send it to you so you can create some content. You're creating yourself a model so that it's a simple, easy to deal with process.
Nice. I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
I'm trying to.
Nice. As an overall summary of this conversation, where were you before you met us? Where are you now as a result of the relationship that we've kindled together?
Oh, we're in hip pocket.
The hip pocket table.
Oh, still at the pocket table. Look, it's just evolved. Like, as you know, dealing with me, I never like to sit on the laurels. I always like to evolve. Yeah. From
changes are only constant.
Changes are only constant. Good man. We had to change because, buying new machinery and putting it in, the way the orders and everything roll in, we knew that we just needed to keep upping the game, upping the ante, because if we want to be the best at what we do, we need to keep evolving. So here we are.
To prospective leads who are looking at working with Ripple, would you recommend businesses who are interested in scaling and taking that step further for Ripple?
For people who work with you, and this is my honest opinion, it's people who are prepared to evolve, they want to grow their business, they want to bring new leads to their business. But in reality, it's also about someone who wants to solidify their online reputation. Someone who wants to be able to showcase who they are, because once again, you are not afraid to say, I know this is how you think your social media should look, but that's actually not how it's working at the moment. So it is literally about reputation and growth. I think anyone wanting to do that is worth talking to.
Beautiful. Graham, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Easy.
I appreciate that, mate.
Anytime.
Beautiful.